Hello, so 1 year on from starting this project, I am accepting that 90% finished is finished. Welcome to the Wattage Cottage.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I've been on the flex since flex zone. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared.
So this is it. This is where I sculpt the guns, drop the watt bombs, do whatever else you do in a training room, blow snot on the floor and hope your heart doesn't see you. I'm going to talk you through what equipment I've got, what choices I went through when building this room, and share any tips I've got. So I'm going to start with the actual room that I'm in. What is it? So this is a single attached garage. It's not an integral garage, it's just attached. That means it's like stuck on the side of your house, not in your house. It's got no heating in it, it has got power, it has got lights. I find that a good balance. The work I've done to the actual room itself, it's concrete based, so I put some rubber matting down, it's 17mm thick, it interlocks really easily, really hard wearing. I had the walls and ceiling plasterboarded, which I then painted white to make it feel a bit more like a normal room. In the loft, I had loft boarding put on over the top of the plasterboard on the other side of the rafters, so that I can put stuff in there and use it for storage up above here. Lighting, I've just got 2 LED tubes. Had a bit of a nightmare with these, to be honest. Had to get some special tubes that stop flickering on screen, so now you'll be able to see crystal clear, but I've bought about 3 sets of lights in order to get to this point. So I said there's no heating. It is a training room. Once you're doing some training, it doesn't really matter what the temperature is. When it's really cold, we use a fan heater on our feet, and hands just keeps you a little bit warmer when you're on the bike, particularly if you've got a fan running. And when it's really hot, I do have an air conditioning unit, but in honesty, in the summer I'm pretty much outside, so I don't really use that. In terms of technology, so power wise, I've only got 1 plug point in here. It was going to cost a lot of money to get another plug point put in, so I just have 2 big extension leads running from that plug point, one on one side of the room, one on the other, with plenty of plugs for everything that I need. Internet connection is very important for when you're running programs such as Zwift. There's nothing worse than having a dropout in a race, meaning you get dropped, and even though I have completely solved that issue, I still have the occasional dropout. I've used the network adapters that plug into the wall socket, and they basically use your power main circuit to extend the Wi-Fi signal, and from that I then run a wired connection to both devices that we use on the bike, meaning there are absolutely no dropouts. One of the most important features, music. I've got a big old speaker system that I can blast the tunes out, get the music pumping. Security isn't something I'm going to cover in detail in this video for obvious reasons, but in summary, I had to go to the trouble of installing lights, door things, cameras, etc. enough to make you feel comfortable about having this equipment in this room. Anyway, let's get on to the training stuff. 100. I'm always in this zone. You can't get me away from this area of the garage. So this is my strength and conditioning setup. This is a bench and squat rack, because I can use it for bench or for squat, or for neither in my case. Coupled with that, I've got some free weights kicking around and a kettlebell, really good for stubbing your toe on when you're trying to walk across the room to get to your bike and stuff. This does also form the functional part of the garage, so the bit where things get chucked, boxes, bikes, those sorts of things. It's an area of the garage that I should use more, however, one of those things. Also have, very important, a mirror so you can look at your terrible form as you're lifting stuff, and a motivational quote on the wall. Thank you to Ali for creating that beautiful piece. Just before we get on the bike, I do have some more strength and conditioning equipment. You can probably tell it's something I invest a lot of time in. Swim bands, I threw a hole in the roof around the loft rafters so I can do some swim strength workout. They probably aren't the best for actual swim form, but on the days where you're either stuck at home or you just want a quick upper body workout, these are good just to do a few sort of swim exercises. That's enough of that. Onto the bikes then. So Liz and I are very lucky in that we use kicker bikes. I love using a smart bike. It takes up a lot less space than a bike on a turbo does. You just jump on and go. There's no faffing around with skewers and wheels and things. The maintenance is very low, and for the most part they just work. Under the bikes, even though there's rubber floor down, I have put 2 big mats on the floor. I just find that easier to clean. Liz got me a little snot and sweat mop so I can wipe that up post session. Very important just to look after the area you're in. Cooling wise, we both use the Wahoo Headwind. Very easy to use. You can either sync it to your heart rate or just to control it with your finger on the app on the phone. Really good for getting on the bike without the fan on, but then as you get warm, turn them up. I turned my nose up at these first when I saw how much money they were, but genuinely great investment. I know other people replicate that sort of thing with either smart plugs or Alexa plugs or whatever. I also think it's quite important to have a good mirror in front of you. It's really good for training in time trial position, even just motivating yourself and looking at your sweaty body in the mirror. That's always nice to see. Who doesn't want to see that? So moving on to the technology side of the bike, Liz and I use different setups for different reasons, which I will tell you about now. So Liz uses Apple TV. I think it's only the 1080p version. I don't think it's the 4K one, but even still, the definition on Zwift is incredible. You just turn it on, go to Zwift as the app, and it just works first time every time. She doesn't need to use any screen recording programs or Zoom calls alongside it, so that for her ticks the box, and it causes me less grief because I know it just works. She hasn't got to rely on me to come and troubleshoot something. The Apple TV box connects directly to the Kicker bike and it's wired into the internet. I will, however, use a HDMI cable which I'll plug into my laptop because I do things like this, and I'll do some screen records. I might be on a Zoom call at the same time, might watch a YouTube video alongside it. I find it just works better for me. If it wasn't for doing this sort of thing, I'd probably use an Apple TV as well, but I'm just in the habit of using a laptop, and once you're used to it, you just want to continue with it, don't you? Great angle, Daniel. On to the run. This is a Reebok Jet 300 treadmill. I bought this secondhand 3 or 4 years ago. Brilliant bit of kit. It's not a top of the range treadmill by any means, but it goes plenty fast enough for me. Motivational banner on the wall for some goals for next year. And yeah, when I'm on the treadmill, I will use an iPad rather than my laptop because I just sync my footpod up to the iPad and I have it just in front of me there so I can see it and see the pace I'm running and stuff. It just works a bit easier. Storage wise, I don't actually keep very much in here, so I just keep a few bits in a drawer here. More than anything, it's got food in it, to be honest. For desks and things, to hold things near the bikes when you're on the bikes, Liz uses a music stand. These are great value. They're about 15 quid. They're not the most sturdy, but you can put like your phone on and a few snacks and stuff, and they're well worth it. I use just a set of drawers that I store stuff in. I find it's quite sturdy for putting a laptop on and a couple of bottles of drink and stuff. I think the only other thing I missed was a webcam, which I keep at the far side of the room so that it covers like a wide angle. So if me or Liz are on a Zoom call, you can see all of us. What a treat. I think that is about it for my Pain Cave Wattage Cottage spec. I do have some plans I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I feel like it's about 90% done. I would love to get a photo on the wall behind the bikes of Liz and I riding in the Peak District. I do actually have a photo I'm going to use, it's just a case of getting around to get somebody to do the vinyl for it. I would absolutely love to have an excuse to be able to build a greenhouse in here, get a humidifier, get a heater, and do some proper heat prep. I've not really had the use for it yet, not got any hot events planned in next year, but the year after, definitely. I wouldn't mind some better storage units, perhaps an old kitchen unit or something to put some more things in. I also wouldn't mind insulating the garage door a bit. I've done plenty of security work on it, but I haven't actually insulated it against the cold. And I also wouldn't mind some lights in front of here. It does look okay on this camera where I've got it now, but when I'm on the bike and I've got the camera in front of me, it's not the most well lit, so that's an area I think I might look at. So there we go, that is my Wattage Cottage. If you've got any tips or any recommendations, drop them in the comments down below, and if you are somebody who's looking to build or create a Wattage Cottage or training room, check out the comment section down below. I'm sure some people will have put some brilliant recommendations in there. Okay, so ride on, get training hard, see you tomorrow at 4 PM.